VIP, all eyes on me. Yeah, where the girls are, this is how your night should be.
All right, everybody, welcome to Gogotalx, brought to you by GOGOTIX. I'm your host, Malachi Johns. Today we are joined by my good friend, the one and only supermodel, Raasan. How you doing, man? You good?
What's up, buddy?
It's cold over there, man. You got a jacket and shit on like you?
No, it's one day it's raining, the other day it's humid. It's like it just goes back and forth. So this way, you know what I'm saying, if it rains, I'm good. It's just, I feel like we live in Seattle. It's been raining like every day.
Oh, gotcha. All right, cool. Well, thanks for coming on, man. Just a reminder to everybody that's over on Instagram, the show is actually happening over at youtube.com/GogoTix. So unless you just want to look at my ugly face the whole time, make sure you head over there so you can see both sides of the conversation. So yeah, man. So let us know how you got into the music industry and ultimately became the manager of a backyard band.
Okay. I would probably say it started off in radio at here in Washington, D.C. at 95.5 WPGC.
Well, no, you got to start before that. How did you even get in? Yeah, start from, so you're originally from Boston, right?
Yeah, I was born in Boston. I moved to D.C. when I was like 12 or 13.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And did you have like an interest in music then, or were you?
Yeah. So if you want to go way back,
tell it all.
Both of my like from the baby embryo, both of my parents were into music. My father's a drummer. My mother is a singer and songwriter, and my mother still writes music to this day. My father still performs and does gigs and weddings and bar mitzvahs to this day, literally in multiple bands. So I'd probably say it started that way. My brother actually had an album out when he was a teenager. Yeah, and so yeah, definitely music has definitely been around me, you know, from, as I said, the baby embryo, you know, to the current time, and just kind of like moving on in life, just roadieing for my father's band. Mm-hmm. So I was the roadie. I was the one lifting the equipment and putting the drums and the chords and putting all that stuff together at a young age, 12, 11, 12, literally out till 2, 3 in the morning with grown men, but all musicians, and it gave me a chance to kind of see how musicians think, how they put songs together, how they get ideas, and they call each other and say, hey, I got this idea for this melody and stuff like that. So, and then, like I said, just different members of my family just being deep into music. Mm-hmm. So it was only right. You know what I mean?
Dope. Yeah. So you're 12, you're roading for your father, and then what's the process to get you into radio? Like, did you sorry, I have my do not disturb on. I don't know why people are able to fucking text me right now. Sorry about that. So you go from roading, and then how did you get into radio? If you're saying that.
So when I went to University of Maryland, and I wanted to do an internship, but I was told that it's important to, when you do an internship, do it somewhere where you potentially could work one day, or you wouldn't mind working. Of course, radios, music, right. Entertainment, promotions, marketing. That's what I was in school for. Mm-hmm. So. Of course.
Were you in broadcasting, or what was your major?
Communications.
Communications. Okay.
Yeah. So that was, and then, I did a whole bunch of stuff at school, but it was like small stuff, for the local radio station. And then, I went on to do work at PGC as far as an internship. Mm-hmm. And then from internship, graduated, and then was an on-air personality with them, and then a member of the infamous Street Squad. So, and that's why I met Mr. Malachi.
That's how we met. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so, and then I remember when we were at PGC is when you started working at DTLR, and I think you were doing both for a while, weren't you? You were still at both. And then what was your original position with DTLR?
I started off as the community outreach coordinator.
Right. I remember that.
You know, again, just how that happened with everything happens for a reason. That's why I always tell people to get discouraged when things ain't going right. At PGC, it was my time to move on. You know what I mean? You do that, you do the promotions, you're on the radio, you're hosting concerts, you're doing stuff like that. And something happened. I'm not gonna throw nobody out there, but you probably know who I'm talking about. Something happened with a particular person, and they were just they were super petty about something, and I was like, yeah, I think it's time to kind of explore. Shorty Bones was at PGC, and you know, Bones started with Tigger and the OGs of PGC back in the day. So he was at DTLR and I was at PGC. He wanted to come back to PGC, and I wanted something different, so we just swapped. And he hooked me up with the person to interview. I interviewed, got the position, and I soon saw that DTLR literally is not just a retail situation, but DTLR is a entity of music and entertainment. Sean Caesar and Jeffrey Shep over there, and DTLR. So I came up under them, and yeah, it's a lifestyle brand. So we're already doing stuff with the artists, already doing hosting and sponsoring all the events, musical events. So everything coincided. You know what I mean?
Right. So so I was going to ask about that. So I don't think a lot of people are aware of Unruly and Sean and how DTLR is involved with music and entertainment and in DC and Baltimore both, and also up and down the East Coast. Can you shed a little more light on how that works and what the partnership is there and how that works?
Yeah, shout out to DTLR, of course, shout out to Sean and Unruly Records. So because back in the day, everything was like your relationships with the Atlantic and Def Jam and different labels. Sean he had a hit song back there, Watch Out for the Big Girls, that joint. He had he was really big in that industry then. And what happened was he built relationships with different folks. So then when it comes around, as we progress and move on from just having stores in Baltimore and DC, it was important to really tap into the lifestyle. That's why it's token DTLR, your fashion, your lifestyle. So, with all the different labels and everybody interested in getting their artist in front of folks, we just did in-stores with the artists. So if Jeezy had, back then, if Jeezy had the album coming out, they would partner with us and do an in-store. We would sign. It's a win-win. So those relationships with the label.
Real quick, for those that don't know what an in-store is, that's when an artist comes to a store, basically signs somebody, gives some albums away, maybe signs some stuff, just makes an appearance, basically.
Yeah. So that was cool. And then I found myself saying this is super similar, even though I'm with DTLR, this is very similar to PGC. This is very similar to that whole world. I did a lot of stuff in between. Like I'm leaving out some stuff. Like I work with some music video directors, and we did a whole bunch of videos for some famous folks, DMX and
doing what? What were you doing?
I was the casting director, and this was like
the girls,
like all around the same time. So I was dibbling and dabbling. My son, who just graduated, I was telling him sometimes it's good you want to focus, but sometimes it's good to have your hands in different things. Especially if it's in the same ring, because they all coincide. You know what I mean? And the relationships I built doing the music videos and PGC and DTLR, everything came full circle. Of course, I knew and saw, and since so my cousins are obviously from here, and because my cousins was here and they lived here, I used to come down even when I was 7, 8, 9 and stay in DC, with my cousins. So I fell in love with I've been fell in love with go-go. That was just a no-brainer. And being because my father's a musician and a drummer, I really drew to that sound, that authentic, beat. And I would take it back to, my family lives in New York and Boston and in the South. So wherever I was outside of DC, I would, put it back then. It was tapes and CDs. I play a tape and they'd be like, "What is that?" You know what I mean? And they everybody loved it. You know what I'm saying? It was really eclectic. And I think that if I can go back in time to like my first time hearing it, I would say Roosevelt. I was at Roosevelt High School, and I remember my cousins played it. But when I really, really fell in love with the go-go genre, I was in class, and let's just say Roosevelt had some real pretty girls. Let's just say that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget how my man Tony pressed play. You know, this is in class right before the teachers come, and she was late or something. So he played. He had a little boombox thing. He played it, and just the reaction to how the girls was dancing to it, and everybody was just vibing to it.
What did he play? Do you remember? Do you remember what?
Honestly, you know what? I'm not sure, and you're gonna think I'm lying and being biased. I'm pretty sure it was Backyard. It was Backyard. Seriously, because the reason being is because I just remember being like, man, that voice, that gritty voice, that it made it right. You know what I'm saying? It was something about, and so I feel like if it was another band, I probably wouldn't have remembered the voice so much. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you know, from that moment on, it was just like, man, this is a genre of music that I can definitely rock with. You know what I mean?
So this was high school. What do you remember? What grade you were in, or like?
Oh yeah, that was freshman year.
Freshman year. Okay. All right. So yeah. So it's funny. Our story about go-go is almost the same. So I became aware of it a little earlier when I was around 12 or so, when I played in the talent show, because I had played, you know, I'd already been playing guitar, and somebody asked me to play in a talent show at elementary school. But then when I really got into it was in high school, and it was this. When I went to the first one I went to was me playing in the band. Like somebody asked me to play in the band, and as soon as I saw the girls taking their clothes off, I was like, "Yeah, sign me up. I'm here."
Yeah. I'm in. Yeah.
yeah. So that's funny. It's funny how most people so there's something that you brought up a couple of times, and this is a little bit out of order from the normal interview flow, but there's something you brought up a couple of times, and I want to make sure I touch on it. Relationships. Mm-hmm. And the point of this show is to try to connect the dots between how go-go is now and what the go-go industry is now and has been for the last 45 years, and the greater music industry. Because as you know, from working with me in PGC and seeing how I was busting my ass working and doing a Mama Sauce thing at the same time, trying to get that off the ground, my objective and my agenda has always been to try to get go-go known on a larger platform as opposed to just reaching it. You know what I'm saying? So one of the things that I hear a lot in go-go from the community is, oh, well, he only got that because he knew this person. And he only got that because he knew this person. Mm-hmm. And it's looked at as a negative thing. And I can understand that to a certain extent, because if you're not qualified, you didn't do the work, and you only got something because you knew somebody, that's one thing. But that's generally not what happens. Generally what happens is you build relationships based upon the value that you're able to bring to the other person and the value that they're able to bring to you. So I wanted to bring that up and talk about it a little bit, because you mentioned it a few times. How have relationships helped you within your career? I mean, I would assume a lot, but speak on it.
Yeah. So you never know, as you're going through life, you never know how that relationship will affect. You don't know. People get promotions. People move up in the game. They go from this company to this company. So, you know, and have you ever heard the expression, man, I don't care. I'm gonna do me. I don't care what people think about me.
Yeah.
Like, I've always been like, no, I care, because you did your last project, and to have a reputation of being a hard worker, thorough, a man of integrity, a man of your word, and a results guy, that goes very far, because whether it's you're partnering with Def Jam to do, this is real life stuff. Partnering with Def Jam, the objective is, Levi's wants to do this big campaign, and they're big on lifestyle, and so I'm going to use your words to put the pieces together. It's Sean, and we have resources at the record label. Boom, there's artists, invested interest. They want to get their artists in front of people. We have the people because we got the Jordans and the cool stuff. And then, down to other situations where they you present an idea, proposal. And just say, hey, let's do this campaign. Hey, we always do these HBCU tours. So let's hit the label, let's get the thing, and then put all the pieces together. And that ability right there is when you have to call your relationships. Got to call the radio stations, because we got to call the label to get an artist. Got to call my contact at Howard and Hampton and these schools that are directors to put this together and get approvals and red tape. And then you look up and you say, man, if I didn't have that Rolodex of people to call, I wouldn't have been able to effectively do my job. But you don't appreciate it again until you don't have those contacts. Why? Because you were partying, you were bullshitting all this time, and you weren't meeting people. And then every time you did do an event or meet some people, you did it half-assed. So you didn't, you know what I mean? So your reputation was, I can't really work with Tyrone because I don't know. I was on this thing with him, and he just was like bullshit. He was always drinking and smoking and didn't get the job done. So those relationships that you have, if you have good relationships and a good reputation, they can actually help you, and that's kind of how you climb up. And people will sit back and be like, yo, how did they put that together? How did they do that? Well, it's based on relationships and based on the ability to innovate and be creative and think outside the box and differentiate yourself from other folks out here. Everybody wants the same thing, but how are you different?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think it's to the detriment of the go-go industry that it seems like, and I understand why, but it seems like there's a lot of focus put on antagonistic relationships where it's I'm here, you're here, you know what I'm saying, and it's like a competition all the time, and it's always instead of people trying to figure out how to work together, it's always like, how can I beat this other dude, or how can I? And there's certain, there's a certain amount of friendly competition, of course, but at the same time, like really, we're like you said, we're all striving sort of for the same thing, and I mean, the legend is, and I'm not super plugged in with the Atlanta community, but the legend is the reason that Atlanta hip hop scene became so successful is because of the collaboration and the work that they did together. And I really feel like that's an important piece of the puzzle that's missing in go-go. And that's something that I hope that we can, we can rectify moving forward. So, okay. So you're working for a downtown locker room. You started as a community outreach manager, and then I know you've gotten at least a promotion, if not multiple promotions since then. What were they, and then how did a kid from Boston end up managing the premier go-go band in DC?
Yeah, it was community outreach, and then it was marketing. I went straight to marketing. So I was the marketing rep of the DC region. I had known G in different bands, and from PGC events, and some of the games we did where we did Allen Iverson's game we did every year. You start to just meet folks, and that those relationships were organic relationships. Right. And then over the years, whoever I was partnering with DTLR or whatever ventures I did a lot of different ventures, started entertainment companies and this and that. It always came back to, okay, cool. So we got this going on. Like, all right, what's next? What's the next move? So yeah, from coordinator to marketing representative to promotions manager to promotions national promotions director. And literally over time, DTLR, we went from, like I said, stores in DC, Baltimore, Virginia, I think when I was there, and I think Atlanta, that was it. And then we just grew all the cities around the country. Now we're in Miami and Houston and everywhere, literally around the country. Only place we're not is like West Coast, like Cali and Arizona and stuff like that. But
let's get it going, man.
No, it's just, y'all just so saturated with us type stores out there. So, but I'm
here in Long Beach. We could probably use one down here.
Yeah. I had an apartment in Newport Beach. My daughter,
I know.
Big out there. So I saw it. I was like, man. But yeah, I mean, it kind of just went from progressively one stage to another stage to another stage, and in that journey is when I met Big G, and we were cool. Like I would see him at shows, and then I started doing some shows at DC Star and in different venues, and I started doing some shows with the promoters, and I would see G at different functions. I see him in different walks of life because he was doing the acting with The Wire. He's doing major stuff, and he'd see me at a cocktail party, and he'd see me in New York and see me. You know what I'm saying? So then you start to real recognizes real, and sometimes it's like, okay, yeah, you look familiar, like, okay, all right, and then moving on, we just became cool, and I would be at the shows because again, I was a fan. Literally, I was a backyard fan. I was at the Trey Wins every Monday. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, I was at the shows, and you know, after a while, he would start to see moves I was making. So it was kind of intriguing, like, oh shit. And then I would see stuff he did, like, dog, you the only one that didn't get killed in the wire, man. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm vibing off his. And then so he had asked me about, you know, some type of management before, and you gotta let him tell the story. But he asked me about some type
Get
of
him on the show then, and I'll ask him the story.
Got you. And at the time I was moving my way up at DTLR. So one thing that, you know, my folks always told me is don't half-ass do anything. Do it right, one thing right, but don't do three things mediocre. So I didn't want to, I didn't feel like that would have been selfish. I'd have been like, man, it's an honor to manage, you know, G and the band, but nah, like I wouldn't be giving them 100%.
Right.
So once I got established, the DTLR and everything was on, and I got, you know, everything, you know, then I looked at it as a partnership. And an alliance, because especially in the DC area, it's dope to say, hey, this show is going to be sponsored by DTLR. We'll sell tickets at DTLR for this show at Echo Stage. You know, when people come in to buy their tickets for the backyard show, they can get clothes. You know what I'm saying? It worked out on both sides. It was a perfect relationship. And that's kind of how that, you know, when the time was right, I was like, cool, let's do this. And then I started managing him, and then managing the band. And then from that, like I said, just getting different deals, Ewing deals, deals with liquor companies, stuff like that. But again, these are relationships that I built over the years to be able to pick up the phone and say, yo, I got an idea. Hey, June, hit Ewing up. We should do a big G shoe. I'll never forget it. And June was like, all right, cool. And then G designed it. And we did a whole bunch of different prototypes. And I was like, I showed G, we was at the corporate office at DTLR, and I showed him on FaceTime. And he was like, nah, that ain't, he wanted a certain look. And then when June got it right, the shoe came out, the shoe sold out in less than 5 hours. So it was like a Yeezy, sold out. You know what I'm saying? And that just doesn't happen with a shoe at the time where Ewing was like going way out of style. And no one believed it. You know what I mean? I did a whole, that's the good thing about having an entertainment company. I was able to use my own resources to do a real release with ice sculptures and, you know what I'm saying, you know, invite the tastemakers out. And I seated everybody in GoGo a pair of shoes, from Rapper to TCB to New Impress, you know what I'm saying? All the head lead mics, they all had the big G's on. And it was great unity. And that was, I think that was great for the genre, for them to be proud and say, damn, somebody just like us, a lead mic, a go-go dude from DC, from DMV, had a shoe out, and that thing sold out like he was Yeezy. You know what I'm saying? So
that was dope. That's dope.
Yeah. So yeah, just different campaigns as we moved on, just different campaigns we nailed, man. So it just worked out great.
What is the like when you started with managing, when you decided that you thought you could handle it and do it well, what was the goal? Like, did you guys sit down and say, this is where we want to be in 10 years, this is where we want to be in 5 years? Or it was just like, shit's going, let's just hit the ground running and move?
Great question, interview guy. I think what was great about when I took the role and I said, I want to be part of the backyard management team, which is myself, another person, and her and I spoke, and yes, we went over objectives of what we wanted to see. And what I wanted, I spoke, I wanted the nationalization of GoGo. Like, I wanted it to be a household name in Atlanta too. The analogy I give everybody is the same way back in the day, radio stations used to say blazing hip hop, R&B, and reggae, or you go to a party at a college in Savannah, Georgia, they play a hip hop set, an old school set, and they play a reggae set. I wanted GoGo to be that set. You know what I'm saying? You're not so familiar, but you know what I'm saying, because you're from, you know, Chicago, but it's still like when it come on, it's like, okay, same way people get into reggae, like that type of flow. And of course, in the DMV, it's going to be like everything. But even in them other cities, I wanted it to be a household name. So in order to do that, you know, just creating alliances with promoters and people at in high places that, you know, will book us in shows in Atlanta, or New Orleans or South by Southwest, those national shows, that, you know, those contacts were super important, more important than, and that might not be so fulfilling financially because, you know, you're doing the show for scraps, but it's a great look because you're in front of a huge national stage.
Hey, it wasn't scraps. I negotiated good prices. You just got a big ass band.
People know about you.
I know.
But you know what I'm saying? So to the average person, like, shoot, but in DC, we make 5 times that. So I want to be, no, but you'll always be there making that. Like, you got to kind of jump out there. So, you know, when we spoke, we had the same, and she and G and everybody had the same vision. And within the Backyard Band, there's so much talent and so much experience. Like, some of the band members have toured around the world and major artist albums and produced, and so it's just a plethora of intelligent folks, from church folks that play that soulful down to the gritty hood stuff. It's just a perfect plethora, SAT word, plethora of musicians in one band. And you know, I send texts out very, very frequently to different members. You know, I'll be listening to a song. I don't care if it was from 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. And I'll just call Earl like, damn, man, you killed that joint. Or Tiffany, man, you hit that note. Or Sauce, you know, Nate and Bob, just all of the members. Like I hit them directly when I get inspired, because I'm still a fan at heart. Like, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes I sit back and practice like, yo, these Negroes are amazing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
definitely are.
Yeah.
I felt extremely outclassed when I filled in with them for a few months. When 100%. Yeah, no, absolutely. I was just like swimming, like I was in over my head. I was like, I can't hang with these dudes now. And even all like Buggy, Nate, and Bob were gone. That's the reason why I was there, because they were out with Raheem Devon. And, you know what I mean? So it wasn't even, you know, but it was either Eric from UCB or Quick that was playing drums, and Rashad from UCB that was on bass. And, you know, but it was still Mike and EB, and Marcus wasn't there, but Mike and EB and, you know, all the rest of the guys. And I think this was before Earl, and obviously it was before Tiffany. It was Lizette and LJ. I was about to say Bruce, but not Bruce. LJ. And I was just like, man, I just feel like I've been playing guitar since I was 6 years old. Like, I just feel like I just want to hang this shit up, because I can't really hang with these guys. You know what I mean? They're just that good. I mean, I got a mean Chuck. That's what got me over. But you know,
your Chuck game is pretty official, buddy. I gotta give you.
Yeah, well, luckily that's what got me over, because I'm a fairly mediocre guitar player, but I got a mean Chuck. So luckily that gets me over in go-go. So, okay, so the goal is national is a national expansion, which we're on the same page there. That's what I want to, obviously. What do you think? Because obviously, since China Man's on here, what's up, China Man? He said plethora is your new word.
Thank you.
Why do you think artists like Rico Nasty, Zanman, Shy Glizzy, Wale, Logic, Gold Link, what do you think? What is it that they have done differently than go-go bands that have been around 3-4 times as long as them, and they have been able to permeate, you know, or penetrate the national market, you know, the national and international market? Like, what is it? Where do you see the differences are?
So I think go-go is a hit away from being on the same platform, i.e. Doing the Butt, i.e. Sexy Lady. Those were songs that Chris Brown was singing, like, you know what I'm saying? You just need that. It's that song that kind of gets them out. To answer your question in regards to what they did, like Shy Glizzy had the one, I'm you know what I'm saying, I'm so awesome. And that's relatable to any hood, Chicago, LA, and the beat is not doesn't have a regional area. That's just a hip hop beat. Wale, same thing. You know, they did songs where I know he sampled some go-go in the very beginning, but it was just fun, energetic songs. You know what I'm saying? And you know, it's harder to do go-go because that's an acquired taste if you think about it. But let's get people the experience. A lot of people fall in love with go-go as well when they actually go and experience it live. So that's something big. Just kind of fast forward to recently with the COVID thing, we've been doing live virtual shows. Right. So now people in New Zealand can watch Backyard perform in a real studio with live musicians. And I wanted the cameraman to zoom in on the bass player or Mike when he's doing his thing, EB when they're doing their thing. You know what I'm saying? So that was very important to me, man. Just kind of seeing, just seeing that progression. And I think that's what people need to see, and that's what make them fall in love with.
Well, so going back to the first part of what you said is it's songs. So that's, to me, that's what has been the biggest stumbling block of GoGo throughout its tenure, is that GoGo has traditionally been in the party business instead of the record business. And if you look at the songs, like you mentioned the butt, and I've said this on a few of the interviews, if you look at Bustin' Loose, if you put Bustin' Loose up against everything else that was on the radio at the time, whether it was the Gat Band or Earth, Wind & Fire or anything like that, it's comparable. It's the same instrumentation, sort of the same vibe, obviously more percussion because it's go-go and it has that its own, own vibe, flavor. Same thing with doing the butt. You put it up against Salt and Pepper or Heavy D or Kid and Play or anything else that was out at the time, it had a similar flavor. I feel like over time, GoGo has become so specific in its sound that it's almost impossible. Like, could a go-go band right now put out something that sounds comparable to Drake or Cardi B or whatever, or should you even be trying to do that?
Because you lose the authenticity of go-go, but what you do is it's a variation. So you stay as close to the melodies and rhythmic stuff that's whatever comes that's popular, but you just add a go-go flair to it. You know what I'm saying? So that it stays authentic to go-go. Also, we got to cut our songs down and format them where it's radio stations and stuff like that can play it and you can really feel it. Sometimes because we're in party mode, so we're doing that because we're trying to make the song last for 7 minutes, so that we could do that and then say 9 for wine, you know what I'm saying, and hit the bar up while we take this break. It's like with these songs, they need to be structured so they're shorter. And then the structures to be shorter, and they're, like you said, different genres. People in different cities. They don't have to be from DMV to be like, man, I love that. That's all my folks. When I travel and I put go-go on, they dig it. New York people, Chicago people, Florida, they dig it. So that's how I know. And it's not like I don't even talk about that I'm managing a go-go band when I'm in Cleveland. I don't talk about anything I do, what I'm saying, outside. So I do this to really let people hear it and see their reactions and read their faces. And then I ask them, I like it. It's just too slow though. It's kind of, okay, cool. We'll check this one. This is up. Oh, so there's variation of go-go. Yes. There's actually different go-gos. There's the crank and then there's the bounce. There's different variations. So it's to whatever your liking is. But just kind of getting that message out to folks so you can see it.
So this is my question. So I don't know the motivation behind it, so I'm not going to speak to that. But there's something that I brought up on this show a lot too, which is the propensity of go-go musicians and artists to look at go-go as this is how I'm paying my bills, or this is how I'm, most people in go-go, it's not their full-time job, so this is how they're supplementing their income, But really, I'm working on my rap project, or really, I'm working on my R&B project because they see that there's a greater chance of success, or they think that there's a greater chance of success as an R&B singer or a rapper. Which, in my opinion, it's exactly the opposite. I feel like if you took the level of effort that you're putting into your rap career or your hip hop career and put it into the go-go sound, it would be much easier to make the go-go thing pop because nobody else is doing it. You're in your own thing. You know what I'm saying? But I understand that mostly people are in big bands and everybody's not all on the same page and all that stuff. But so my question is, are you guys, so I know that you guys are working on an album. Are you taking the same approach to that album as G took to his solo album? Like, is it like we're making a project that is songs, or is it we're doing like 7-minute go-go things like has sort of always been traditionally done.
So when G did his project, he did a rap project. So that wasn't, that was like a hip hop.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah, that's so that this is different. This is a go-go album. It's a backyard authentic go-go album. It's just no cover songs. It's all original music. So the importance of that is like when we do certain things, to the DMV, that song that played, oh, that's a backyard song. And it happened to me too. I'd be like, oh, I didn't even know that was a Outkast song from 96. I didn't even know that because you fell in love with the backyard version. So but at the end of the day, Uncle Sam is going to get that money to the right folks. Even if you use a hook, you play something on YouTube, they get the bread. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
There's a whole bunch of red tape and stuff that we can't do and put out because something was sampled, lyrics were taken from this person or that person. So
you can do it. You can just get it clear, but it costs a lot of money. So.
Yeah, but why do that when you could just, as I brag about the band, so creative, so magnificent, just create our own. And G will call me and we'll be on the phone talking about something. He'll have a melody or something in his head, and you should see how exciting they are about it, and then how dope and excited I am when I heard the conversation and then heard the final thing in practice and how they put it together. From each individual player, they had their own. Nate might play this bass line, Bob might play this guitar lick, and so on and so forth. But just how creative they are, just again, it's still amazing. Even from the perspective I have now, I try to at practice and certain things like that is their lane. I don't come to band practice and do all that. That's what they do. That's their lab. That's their creativity. It's my job to keep all the other stuff coming in. And yeah, like I said, it's just that's just something I've been focusing on. I can see down the line where with the young the kids, then they took instruments and stuff out of schools, and now everyone wants to be a rapper. Before, everybody wanted to be a lead mic in a go-go band, everybody back in the day. So that's shifting. So to pull it back, it's like, no, we have to create awesome shows to remind them how dope it is to have a band. That's why the shows that our companies put together, RNG Entertainment, the shows we've done have been just different. Like the Blend show, where it's just a different go-go bands play back and forth, the excitement, friendly competition with the DJs, kind of egging people on and creating that excitement. Just theme shows, shows that are applicable to things going on. When the murder rates gets bad, we do Fallen Soldier show. That's where we put all we celebrate the life of people that have passed or went on to jail and ain't coming back soon. So Fallen or Lost Soldier show. Mm-hmm. So that's the other way we kind of we yes, that's still DMV, but we still want to give the DMV a great depiction of what go-go is, so they don't think it's their dads and their uncles' pots and pans music where they making fun of you like mm-hmm. Like, nah, hold on, like watch it this way. Watch how the women react to it. Watch how everybody's partying. Watch how and I tell G all the time, like, Slim, y'all be having computers in your brain. How do you remember names, what neighborhood they're from, like, blood type? Like, I just be sitting back like, how did you see Leroy in the back because he's 400 feet away in the dark? You know what I mean? But they master that, man. These lead mics from Bo, TJ New Impression, Rick Reaction, TOB, like these dudes, even down to the bounce beat, like ABM and them. I just see how detail oriented they are. They just be sitting back and they analyze the stage and they're calling neighborhoods out, and you just see the reaction. And that right there, I think if Brooklyn dudes could get a hold of that, they would love it, because they'd be represented. It'd be the same thing. You'd be calling out Flatbush, you'd be calling out, you know what I'm saying, East New York, you know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. It's just call and response. And that right there is what makes go-go authentic. And I feel like people fall in love with it. They just gotta embrace it.
Well, so that's a perfect segue into my next question. And you know that I'm always a shit starter. So my question is,
shitty.
No, it's not that bad. But my thing is, when you first heard A. Marie, Crazy in Love,
mm-hmm.
when you first heard Jill Scott, It's Love, or I'm saying A. Marie, whatever her fucking song is, you know what I'm talking about. Or you heard Beyonce, Crazy in Love, or any of those songs, right? The first thing you said is that's go-go, right? Am I right or wrong?
Well, no, I didn't, but other people did, yeah.
You didn't say that? You didn't feel like it was go-go?
because I see this, I'm biased because I know who the producer is, and I know he's from DC, and yeah, he got the go-go feel to it,
Right.
yes.
Right.
But it's not, I just those are R&B songs with a go-go twang to it. Is twang a word?
Twang is a word that's generally associated with country music, but leave it to you to associate it with go-go. That's perfect. Good job. So I guess my question to that, or my thing to that, you're the only person that's disagreed, but that's not surprise. I feel like everybody that I knew said that's go-go, and I said, oh, that's go-go, and so so somebody's saying Crazy in Love was a sample, wasn't go-go. So this is my argument. There was no call and response. There was no lead rapper. There was no calling of crews. There was none of that. It was the percussion. I mean, even if you listen to Bustin' Loose, like same thing. He's not doing call and response. It's a song with a specific conga pattern under, with a specific percussion pattern under it. So my thing is that if we have identified the issues with go-go spreading outside of the area, is that people don't understand the crew thing when they're not part of it, when they don't, when they're not on it. We understand that it's incredibly expensive to tour a 10, 11 person band. And I'm leaving something out, but those are the main things. The other thing is that we don't create records that, typically what happens is an artist in other genres, an artist creates a record. That record precedes them into a market, and people say that people say that, oh, I like this artist. They're coming to town. I want to go see him. Right. But go-go doesn't typically have that. And so when you go into a town, it's already expensive to tour the band there. Mm-hmm. You don't have any demand built up because you don't have a record playing. Mm-hmm. And really the only way that you can express the true culture of go-go is through the live experience, which I will 100% agree with. But so my question is can we say we're going to create this record that has a go-go beat, which in my opinion and the opinion of many others is what defines go-go. But over top of that go-go beat is going to be a structured song, just like you said, that's 3.5 minutes or whatever long. And even songs are even shorter now, like the songs coming out now are like 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. And then we're going to promote these songs. And then when we build up enough demand in other markets for us to go play these songs after we've made them a hit, then we can give them the full experience of this is a go-go band, this is shouting out crews and all that. But it seems like whenever we go to record something, we try to emulate what we do on stage in the studio, as opposed to creating a different piece of content in the studio. Which, this obviously I'm biased on this. This is what I was trying to do with Mambo Sauce. I didn't get where I wanted to get, but if you listen to those songs, they are songs that if you took the go-go beat off them would still be a regular song. You know what I'm saying? There's no crew shouting out. There's none of that. It's a typically structured song. So does that seem like an approach that would work to you or no?
Yeah, so, and it's kind of like baby steps. Like the go-go sound might be too much, too rich. Too, what I mean? So you give them just a little bit, and then once they're hooked, that was a concept we had. But my thing is, don't lose the authenticity of what go-go is. Don't water it down too much, because rap doesn't do that. Like they come straight out like what it is. They don't say I want it to be kind of popish a little bit. We'll come back to the rap. No, it's rap. That's what it is. Right. So prime example. This is right now. And I'm going to use another band, but like the song Fantasia. Can you hear this? Yep. See, that's anyone. Somebody in Cleveland is grooving to that, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's smooth, it's laid back, right? But then if I go over here, just let that ride for a second. So if I go and I do a thing, right, where I say, all right, well, now I'm going to do to differentiate, like I'm going to show the difference about go-go, the vibe, the you know, the rhythmic pattern is different, right? So then I'll go, that's Fantasia, and then I'm gonna go with another band, same song, but it's a different vibe. Hold on.
Get your technical difficulties together, bro.
Yeah, well, no, I'm so you just heard that Fantasia song, right? That's Fantasia. That's that. Same song, but with a go-go vibe.
Yep.
I love to see my people party with me, man. Good to see you, Black Brown, Sweet Nikita, Miss Rhonda. Hey, happy birthday, Miss J. Hey.
So my point is, same exact song, but when people hear that at cookouts and stuff now, they get up and they love it because it's the go-go vibe, it's the go-go feel, it's that.
What people wear though.
In DMV.
Right.
So outside of DMV, we want to get people to have the same reaction. It's an energy thing, it's a vibe thing. So the Fantasia song is dope, and people love it.
It's funny because that was Vibe Band, wasn't it?
It was Vibe, right?
Yeah.
So that's the objective. Is to the same way someone from Landover, when they hear the go-go version, they would be more amped than they would if they heard the Fantasia version. That's the objective. So that's why you don't want to water it down. Give it to them raw, but give them still stay in the lines of what's popular, whether it's the 80, whatever the beat, you know, whatever is going on during that time, which is ever changing, by the way. Still be cognizant of that sound, but don't water down the go-go. Don't take out congos. Don't take out a certain drum beat.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you take out the percussion, then it isn't go-go anymore. Like that's to me, in my personal opinion, is the percussion is what differentiates go-go from any other style of music. Obviously, when you're talking about and my man Brooks, who's on here, the guitar player, old guitar player from Reaction, who's out here now, makes a good point that there's a difference between the go-go music and the go-go culture. And I feel like there are certain things that are associated with the culture, like the call and response, like the format of the songs that are separate from the actual music. And I feel like that the things that we're hanging on to are part of the culture, which I understand. Like when you're talking about being in DC, yes, you don't want to fuck with that. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? But if your objective is to get it outside of DC, then like you just said earlier, you take the baby steps. So those two songs that you just played, if I was trying to get go-go out to Cleveland, I would play the same Fantasia version, but with the congos under it, but without the hey Rhonda, hey, you know what I'm saying, all of that, because then it's go-go because you've got the percussion, but it's still formatted like a song that people elsewhere can understand, and there's still a vocal melody that ties everything together. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that there's a middle ground, and I agree with you. Like my objective is not to you know, we use the term water it down a lot, but what really is the definition of that? Like I've asked other people that, like at what point does it become not go-go anymore? You know what I'm saying? Because yeah, you can't cross that line, but what is that line?
Yeah. So that line, I'm an analogies guy. That line is where, you definitely can't take out the congos and the drum, like the way it is, the way the song is broken down is just smoother. It's just go-go has a different vibe, right? So you can't take that out. But one thing you can take out a little bit is a little bit of the call and response. But I think that's an important part of go-go because it's applicable in every hood. And I'm not saying like you go to Chirac and shout out neighborhoods as beef and all that stuff. I'm just saying it's a fun activity because now the lead mic is addressing East Cleveland. They're addressing so in just different neighborhoods, and people can say, "Oh shoot, I can go to what's that thing called? Go-go? Yeah, I can go." They're gonna play songs, cover songs, or original songs that have a real fun energy to it. But most importantly, me and all my folks are from Hillgate Projects in East Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? They shouting us out. And he remember, you know, they remembered our name. You know what I'm saying? Like I learned how to do, like you just, to the lead mic, you just, you know, just say what your name is, show them your phone, write it on a piece of paper when you see them at the bar during the break, whatever the case is.
Right, but what 100%. But all I'm saying is you're not even going to get to Cleveland unless you present them with something before you get there that makes them want you to come there in the first place. So what I'm saying is if the release, if the records that we are putting out are records that are basically in the same format that we do live go-go in, and we're shouting out hoods in DC, then somebody in Cleveland doesn't give a fuck about it. So there's two ways you can do it. You can either just leave the shout outs out altogether and just do a song with a go-go beat under it, like A Marie or any of those things, or to sort of to your point, you could go find out what the hoods are in Cleveland and do a Cleveland version and do a New Orleans version and do a Miami version. And then that way you got to go into every single place. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But you know, I don't know, like getting a go-go band to go in the studio in the first place is a, you know, a Herculean task. So getting them to record 10 different versions for 10 different cities, I think is a bit much to ask, you know what I'm saying? But so I'm not saying I have the answer. I'm just asking the questions to try to figure out how we can, like it seems like we've just been in our own way for 50 years. And how do we get out of it? You know what I'm saying? Like, because in my opinion, I feel like there is absolutely no form of music in the entire world that is more powerful live than go-go music. And I've seen a lot. I used to be into punk rock music. I've been into heavy metal music. I've been jazz. Yeah. I had a mohawk when I was 12 years old before I started playing the go-go band. Yeah, I used to play in a punk rock band. So I've seen a lot of music, you know what I'm saying? And you know, obviously, you know, I ran the casino. I saw everything from fucking Michael Bolton to Jose Feliciano to every show you can imagine. You know what I mean? And nothing to me has the power live that go-go does.
Absolutely.
But we hamstring ourselves because we say we have this purity test of it has to be this way. Brooks telling me I'm not a metalhead. I was a metalhead before you were born, bro. One of my first concerts was Slayer and Megadeth and Anthrax. So get out of here with that. Anyway, for real. Like I used to be into that shit. Like, I mean, I didn't get into go-go hard into go-go until I was 15 when I started playing in a band. But prior to that, I started playing guitar when I was 6 years old. So I was into all kinds of music. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
But not to cut you off, and I really did. But see, that's another thing. Like that's a great. Your perspective is different because you experienced other things outside of go-go. Some people grew up with it, and so their mind is gonna be a certain beat, and that's the way it is. And me being from somewhere else, and I moved to DC when I was 12. I was, you know, and being with my father's bands and all that stuff. I got to see different types of music. I travel a lot with DTLR. I travel a whole lot, different city every week.
Right.
I get to experience when I'm in these record label things and these meetings and these you know wine tasting events. You're rubbing elbows with executives and artists, and you see artists how they're groomed and what made them a hit, what made them pop, and this person didn't pop. So you start to see similarities. Man, he had his own style, and it was different, and that's why he popped. But this dude over here sounded like everybody else. So back to what we were saying before, the baby steps thing is you keep it authentic, but yes, you gotta tone down on things that are very DC. Like if there's too DC and it's not relatable, then it'll never work. So that's why another thing I was saying was collaboration. So you collaborate with national artists because then they stamp that. You know, you do a go-go song with Gucci that fits perfectly with that flow, and people in Atlanta will listen to it because it's Gucci, and then next thing you know, they bobbing their head and they're like more in tuned and more and less apprehensive to listen to go-go because they're like, nah, Gucci flipped on that joint, Jeezy flipped on that joint. Today's hottest rappers they did a go-go track. You know what I mean? So
we had a Northeast Groovers did a remix with Gucci and Boss Man and Jim Jones. Jim Jones, Gucci, and Boss. I mean, it was a song that was already done, and we did a go-go remix to it. But so Miss Soldier here on Instagram says where Essence tried that with the Turn It Up projects in DC, said it wasn't raw enough. How can you get radio? The rest of the question isn't coming up. How can you get radio on it or something? I don't know. I can't read the rest of her comment. But my thing is, I feel like we fall into this trap of, well, it didn't work before, so it will never work again. And I don't ascribe to that, and I'm not saying that that's what you're saying, Miss Soldier, but I feel like I get that vibe from a lot of musicians and a lot of people in go-go. It's just like, well, you know, I mean, when, you know, they try to turn EU into an R&B band and you see what happened there, and you know what I'm saying? But yeah, okay, that was like 30 years ago. Like, why is it that 30 years from now, we haven't figured out, like, it's really not that complicated of a process change. It's extremely hard to write a hit song. People don't, you know, like even in other genres, people don't do it all the time. You know what I'm saying? But there are very logical things that you can point to just to realize why go-go doesn't have. Well, first of all, EU didn't even write the butt. You know what I'm saying? Marcus Miller wrote the butt. So it very rarely is a person that plays music and performs music also a songwriter. So Whitney Houston never wrote a song in her life. So why can't we involve other songwriters from outside of the go-go community, add our go-go flavor into it?
Wow. It sounds like you were listening to a conversation that myself and someone from our management team had. I'm gonna literally, this is gonna bug you out. The conversation was, I would love to get young but talented songwriters, producers to come in and sit with us and put something together, like from Berkeley College of Music, from Howard, from different schools, and say it's not at school. Say it is. There's a young hot producer from one of those mega churches, from some studio, and all he does is voiceovers. But he has his own little thing in his mom's basement, and he produces awesome music because he listens to the Isley Brothers and he listens to rap. So his knowledge is and his scope is that. So what he could do is give Backyard, but he's from Detroit. But what he could do is give Backyard the new flavor, that young up and coming flavor with the go-go sound that we you know what I'm saying, we do, and that gumbo right there stirred up will make people say, man, it was young and it was hot and it was energetic, but it had that go-go flair. And I think that together, like all that together, I think that's something where people can start to be like, okay, cool. That sounds like a what's his name, 42 Doug, the little youngin from Detroit. It sounds like a 42 song, but it got like a fun, energetic go-go thing. And I like how, like you said, I like how they shouted out the different neighborhoods. Like they familiarized themselves with us. Like they shouted our neighborhoods out with that. That's love. And then people can relate to that. And people say, all right, next time they do a show at the Cleveland Coliseum, I'm gonna go to that because that was cool how they did that. Like I like that song. I like how, and if 42 Doug jumped on the track and he's Detroit's the hottest dude coming out of Detroit, then guess what? Like, you know what I'm saying? If he's partnering with them, that's something I can listen to. And it takes one song. It takes one hit song, you know what I'm saying? And after that, then you got everybody's attention.
Well, that's what I was going to say too. And obviously this was not an original song, but what was the impact that you felt from Hello? Because obviously Backyard was already well established prior to that, but unless I'm mistaken, that sort of brought a new life and a new energy and a new vibe to the band, right? So
I joined management in 2015, 14, 15-ish, right? Around that 2014-ish time, that's when we did Hello. That's when I started managing the band. And I remember, Tiffany killed that song and she made it so much better than the Adele version.
Oh, 100%.
What they also did is, the ideology that Backyard, you go to Backyard shows and there's 73 fights and 14 people get killed and it's violence and it's roughing it off and punching people in the face. That goes away because we're doing a cover song from a chubby lady from England. Okay. And white people, black people, old, young, everybody loved it. And it kind of just it smoothed Backyard out. And then with that came the album we did, and the infamous cover with G as a mad scientist.
Dope cover and deserves a lot of credit because I feel like another big problem we have is the way that we present ourselves. We don't present ourselves in the same way that national artists do, and that was an amazing. It was dope. So kudos for that. So sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
It's paying attention to details. Like G is a super creative genius dude, right? and hey son, I got this idea. Then man, the next album I want to do, and then me and him vibe off each other. Oh shit, you could be like a mad scientist, you know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna release some information that I haven't released before. And coming up with that cover, shout out to John Johnson too. He's the one that did the graphics on it. He felt our vision 100%. I went to like a party city. I couldn't find like the needles, so I got the joint where you put icing in a cake, and I put some in there to make it seem like it was like a needle. And I got the little thing from Party City, got that, and I put a little jacket that looked like a hospital jacket. We shot it in this little grimy little area, and it came just the way we wanted it. And the devil's in the details. We wanted to pay attention to making sure that album cover looked quality. Where when the CD, it's like back in the day, you press to open your tape or your CD thing because of all the stuff inside. We wanted to make sure that looked right, and it was the quality. And it didn't just look like every other Gogo thing where it looked like somebody drew it on and put it in some plastic. We wanted to make it official. The time we took on the album and the recordings, and shout out to Deuce 9 for doing a great job. Just a great team of visionaries and then people that are actually putting ideas and making it happen on a certain standard, as opposed to saying we're not going back to the old way. That joint looks kind of janky. We're going to go this way. And then from that point, it made other Gogo bands step up. I noticed Raasan and the OGs have always been on point, but some of the younger Gogo made them step it up. So that was something that was major time for us. A shift in the ideology of Backyard.
So my question for that is, if you saw and I'm not trying to like be belligerent, I'm hoping that this will inspire somebody, you know what I'm saying? If you've seen firsthand that we figured out how to make a hit song, even though it wasn't yours, that's irrelevant. Because you could have had somebody else write it. It still would have been a hit, whatever. Like most of the people that listened to the Backyard version of Hello probably didn't even ever heard the original version. So it's not like I don't feel like that song rode the coattails of Adele. You know what I'm saying? Like that was singularly your success. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like it would have been the same level of success if Adele didn't write the song, or whoever, Ryan Tedder, whoever wrote the song, somebody else wrote that song for Backyard. I feel like it still would have been as successful as it was. So why isn't the objective to do that again all the time and on a consistent basis? Because I guess Adele's a bad example because she's the only artist, really the only artist right now, except for maybe The Weeknd, that can space out an album between two, do shit the way that it used to be done back in the day, which is 2 to 3 years, and you put out a new album. Now, as I'm sure you're aware from dealing with artists all the time, people are putting out shit all the time. They're putting out a new song every month. Maybe they'll package it together in an EP or package it together in an album or something like that. Why isn't it, if you saw that this obviously elevated where you were, this is my thing. Every time I listen to anything, I'm like, Los can rap better than that. G's got a cooler voice than that. Winston got a more recognizable voice than that. Tiffany could have sang that better. Earl could have sang that better. Whatever. Buggy could have played that better. And I'm just like, it frustrates the shit out of me and out of love, because everybody knows me from playing for Northeast Groovers and Marvel Sauce, but prior to that, I was a Backyard fan. I went to school in Morgan State. I used to drive every Thursday from Baltimore to the Metro Club to come see Backyard. My old band used to open up for Backyard. I was a Backyard fan before I ever filled in with them or played with Northeast Groovers. It frustrates me that, again, like you said, you have such a creative group of people. You obviously have somebody intelligent as yourself and the other person who I guess we're keeping a secret, manager, member of management team who obviously has their head screwed on straight as well. Why isn't it that, and then you also have, to pull it full circle, you also have, Anwan, who put out a rap album of quality. You know what I'm saying? Why can't you just say, we're going to take the concept of what we did with his rap album and do the same thing, but just with go-go beats under it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's.
I know it's more complicated than that, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure out how we can eliminate the roadblocks, because I think a lot of it is mindset too. Like I was talking to 32 the other day on here, and I feel like we as people, as members of the go-go community, it's like we got a what do they call it in a car? Like a limiter cap, or what is it, where you can only drive so fast, you can't drive any faster than that. It's like a limiter, like taps your speed down.
Oh, okay.
I feel like we have that in our brain about what go-go can do. Like, nah, that's not how we do it in go-go, or it's just go-go. Like, oh, we do it differently in go-go, but why?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't have the answer. I don't have the answer for all of that, but I just feel like
Governor, yeah, that's what it's called.
Governor.
A governor is what it's called when it limits your speed. Somebody correct.
When it governs the speed. Okay, yeah. With go-go, there's no limits, but there it needs to be governed as well. You can't get too rappy, too hip hop. You gotta stay with the same go-go sound, the same go-go beat. And by that, remember, when you say go-go though, there's the bounce beat, which is a different concept than a socket beat. I played the vibe thing. That's a smooth, that's a time cookout, pool party. You know what I'm saying? You vibing with it. And then there's the bounce beat where that gets the ladies twerking and stuff like that. So that's that authentic. I use the analogy of reggae. Reggae is that smooth, you know what I'm saying? That's that vibe. And they don't, no one messed with that. So that's what I'm saying. Like.
But are you sure though? Are you sure they didn't? Like that's literally what dance hall is. It's basically like the pop version of roots reggae. You know what I'm saying? Like, and there's multiple types of reggae too. Like there's ska, there's roots, there's more traditional, there's dance hall, there's reggaeton. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I'm saying is that like, yeah, you don't like, people don't play like Toots and the Maytals right now on the radio, but they do play reggaeton. They're like a traditional reggae band. Actually, Mambo Sauce played with them years and years ago, but they're like old school, like Bob Marley type reggae band. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you're not going to hear them on PGC, but you're going to hear some reggaeton shit that's influenced by it. So that, I guess that's what all I'm saying is it's like, why do we put these limitations on ourselves when people in other genres really aren't doing? I don't think I sort of disagree with you a little bit on that. I don't think people are really putting those limitations on themselves. I think we just don't know it because we're not involved with them when they're creating it. You know what I'm saying? But they are creating, and that's the other thing, the song structure, like literally every song from the grimiest drill, pop smoke, whatever, all the way to Lil Nas X to fucking Kerry Hilson to, Luke Bryan, country music, all have the same song structure. It's verse, bridge, chorus. You know what I'm saying? Now they might chop it up in different ways. And there's some ways that some of the, like Lil Baby does a lot of crazy things with like the arrangement of his songs. Like if you listen to the Bigger Picture one, it's different. There's different variations on how he, but it's still the same parts of the song. And go-go is like, we're not going to play by those rules, but we want to have the success that everybody else has.
No, I got you. And when I use the reggae analogy, that's just because that's a genre of music that is worldwide known and accepted and loved. That's why I use that analogy. But yes, just like reggaeton is to the Latin music, you can transition it a little bit so that go-go is, it could be rapish, it could be R&B-ish, but as long as we stay at a certain level where we keep the congos in the same kind of melodies, that's what I'm talking about. But again, it's baby steps. It's not, you don't give them the full-blown backyard show at the Aqua type of flow because they won't understand that. But you like doing the butt. And remember, Salt and Pepper had a song with Take Your Thing. So that was a rap song. So someone in New York was like this with it, and then someone in DC was more grooving with it because they were listening to most of the congos. That's an example of what I mean. That's a perfect example of a national artist like Salt and Pepper who's stamped everywhere, doing, as she said, with that go-go swing. Like as long as you incorporate it in its congos, it's the flow. I think that'll win folks over in other cities, but it gotta be strategic. It can't be too go-go-ish, but it also can't be too watered down-ish either. And those
No,
are
I,
two.
I agree. I think that there's a happy medium, and I think that, but what I think is that we shoot ourselves in the foot before we even try. Like we're like, oh no, we can't do it like that because it's gonna be too watered down, or we can't do it like that because it's gonna be too good. Well, just fucking record some shit and try. You know what I'm saying? Sweaty's on here. He says so people don't want to hear studio go-go; they want to hear that raw, uncut sound. But Sweaty, who are you talking about? You're talking about people in DC and DMV.
Right.
I put together a band called Mambo Sauce that went on a national tour with a reggae band and played all over the country. And all of those people that were at those shows, which mostly looked like me, were fucking going nuts. So what I'm telling, but they knew the song, but there was a record for them to relate to. There was Welcome to DC. There was miracles that were done in song structure. You know what I'm saying? In typical song structure, but they had timbales under miracles and had congos under Welcome to DC. So it is
popular that you said they're familiar with. That's what I'm saying. It has to be relatable and familiar to them, but you can add that go-go swing to it so that then they're like, man, okay. It just can't be too much. Like you said, the call and response. They don't understand that concept. So you got to baby step that to them down the line and make it applicable to their hood in Cleveland and Detroit and so and so. And then again, just stamp it with a like. I would love to do a tour where basically, Backyard went to different cities and basically whoever the big rapper or R&B singer was from that city. We did all of their songs, but we did them with like a go-go flavor. So then people would get it. Oh, okay, I get it. So that I love Chris Brown. I love it. Oh, okay, now I understand. That's the go-go. Where it's slowed down a little bit. It's more fun. It's interactive. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. Yes, that's a lot of work. But the easier way, and shout out to UCB, is like that Sexy Lady. That was 100% go-go, right? But the person dancing to it in Milwaukee didn't even really know. They just loved the energy and the vibe of the song and the hook. And in the song and in the lyrics and the hook is memorable. Like you're in the shower singing that. I mean, that's an example of a song.
It's a hit song. Yeah, it's a hit song. So that, I mean, Welcome to DC, a hit song that resonated in other markets. So
like my people, believe it or not, that song, My Fatty.
Yep. Yeah, so what was popping on TikTok a month ago or so.
Oh, right. Yep. You see how they was dancing? That's the lady, that's the girl, that's that actor, and then that Instagram girl.
Yeah,
no go-go. They just felt the vibe. That's what I'm talking about. It's like a you know what I mean? So that's a great example. Just basically making it so that genre is familiar to them and they can party and they don't know why they're loving it. They just love it. And then God forbid they come to a show. God forbid we do a show, in that city. Whenever we do shows in other cities, man, like even when we was in Africa, like they don't understand a lick of what we're saying, but they just feeling the vibe and they're partying. And it's just
it doesn't matter. The go-go beat is the cheat code. Yeah. And that's the thing that I'm saying. It doesn't matter who you put a go-go band in front of on stage, they're going to kill it. But we didn't figure out the part of how to get the demand up enough to get us on that stage. You know what I'm saying? The reason I was able to book you guys in New Orleans is because the buyer at the House of Blues New Orleans was from DC. He already knew about go-go. And we did it during Essence Fest, which there was already going to be a bunch of people down there from DC. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying that like we need to figure out how to create a product that is separate from the live show that will resonate with people in other markets in order to build up enough of a demand for us to be asked to be there at a live show. Like people, to do the Miami takeover, would do the Puerto Rico things, and those are all cool and no disrespect, but those are
people from DC.
People from DC going to another place to listen to the same band that they listen to in DC. It's not like a bunch of Miami people at the Miami takeover fucking with go-go. So you know what I'm saying? So
it was so impactful when me and you got together on this tip. The South by Southwest.
Yeah.
Granted, it was a snowstorm from the Himalayas that came from the southeast, and that ruined stuff. But Essence Fest, we played with people from New Orleans, and they was loving it. It was a packed show. Yep. And I didn't even know that there's a genre of music in New Orleans that's very similar to go-go, by the way.
Or bounce, yeah.
Yeah, so and speaking to the people at the House of Blues and their management, they loved us. Their bartenders, who were Caucasian, was loving us.
Yeah.
With the new side of DC, the gentrified DC, I love the fact that when we were at the parade, I looked out and white people, they might have been offbeat a little bit, but they were partying, they was enjoying it. And that brought me a smile, because it's not about black, white, old, young. It's about unity. And, you know, now coming together, white kids buy rap music, black kids, you know, wear the tight, you know, clothes like how the truckers did. Like we're embracing each other's culture. I don't know if you're noticing that. And I remember when I first met Pharrell when I was in college, he came to my little going away party this morning. He only had one song out, the Noriega song. He only had one song out, and it was basically like he was the man, he was the producer. And I remember like just his style was different. Like he wore a Peter Pan hat, truckers. Back then, that's when we was baggy, the jerseys and Timbs with that was our flow. Everything was baggy. His pants were tight. He had the like that look that we wear now, like form jeans and stuff. And I remember they was making fun of him because I remember we was at a basketball game. This is in Hampton. That's where he's from. For a semester. And I remember he was like, everybody's watching the game. He was in the cut. He was just watching the band, and he was just gigging like this. And they're all the New York dudes who no shade, but they're the most judgmental motherfuckers on earth.
More than DC dudes, you think?
Oh right, nah, it's neck and neck. But they don't let you in. It's like, oh, that's whack, yo. That's whack, dog. It's like, could you listen for a second? Just give it a second. They were making fun of him. And I remember thinking, like, it's dudes like that you know, like, cuz got that one song out, but it's dudes like the odd dudes that think outside the box dudes are the ones that have longevity and then are trendsetters and pioneers. Everyone else is doing the same thing. What differentiates you from the next artist? So that's that, you know, you bring Pharrell up. He's a prime example of, you know, instrumentation. All his songs, from the guitar to the beat, it's like an authentic, I can tell a Pharrell beat. You should be able to.
He's influenced by Gogo too. I don't know if you saw the interview with him and Rick Rubin where they're talking about Gogo. Yeah, like there's a lot of it, and this is what frustrates me so much, is that a lot of early hip hop is influenced by Gogo, and then now all of a sudden it's like it switched over, and now Gogo is influenced by hip hop, which is cool, but it's like hip hop went here and Gogo is still here. And I wish the issues that need to be overcome to change that narrative are not really that big of an issue. But we have a mindset that is a lot, you know, that governor, like I was talking about, that's like, oh, we can only go this far, we can only do this much. When fuck that, I want Backyard to headline Coachella.
Oh, 100%. Oh, no, sky's the limit. I'm just talking about as we walk into the beginning stages of getting them to embrace go-go. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, the overall would be the roots. Back then, like it was hip hop, like DJs mixing it. That was live band, and that was just different, and it worked. It was a live band from Philly. But they had rap, they had all, you know what I'm saying? So I would love for Backyard, I'd love for a go-go band to be the headliner of a major show, and or what's great with go-go's, we could be the house band to these huge shows. If Pharrell does another In the Water situation, or Kanye West, when he gets back normal, does a big tour, you know what I'm saying? And he wants all, you know,
back normal. Are you sure that's ever gonna happen?
But you do it with Backyard with that go-go swing, that's something cool within itself. Right. It's still fun, energetic, but people are singing the words of the Yeezy song. So.
Right. Well, I think I will publicly make the overture again to that I would love to help produce a song for Backyard.
Awesome.
Even though I will not claim to be half the musician of any of those guys, or hold a candle to the success that they have had, I will say that I am the producer of the last 2 Billboard charting hits in go-go history in the last 20 years, not made by anybody named Chuck Brown.
Gotcha.
So I kind of know what I'm doing a little bit, but maybe I'm rusty. I don't know, but I would love to do it. I wish that, the most success for you guys, and hope hope that you get exactly where you want to be. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I want. That's all I want. I want GoGo to be successful. I want it to be successful on a larger scale than it has been. I want GoGo musicians to be able to make a full-time living at being musicians instead of having to have a job and then just play for the weekends. And I know it's possible because I book artists all over the world, and I know that there are artists that make enough money from touring in bands to, maybe they're not making $200,000 a year, but if you're making 50, 60 grand playing music, what the fuck is wrong with that? You know what I'm saying? So, so we asked you what you're working on now. So you guys are working on an album, which you said is more of a traditional go-go album, not necessarily like a, but it's all
hip hop. It's a backyard. Yes, but it is go-go. We're not gonna say it's not. It's go-go, but it's no cover. It's 100% from the brains of the.
Is this going to be hood related too, where it's going to take like 30 years to come out? That was before your time. Are you even aware of the fact that hood related 2 has been supposed to come out for like the last 30 years?
Yeah, I mean, so that's the other thing. Like what I try not to do is like stuff that was going on before. I try not to like say, okay, let's pick that up and so because I like, we create something. We have a vision for it, and we go in that direction. So this right here is going to be great, and I want people to play this at cookouts and fish fries and family reunions and funerals and everything. I mean,
right.
Start to finish. Meaning, there's some songs on there they give people energy. They give some songs in there that's relatable relationship wise. It's some encouragement songs. It's some knowledgeable songs that do a good job at saying, stop with the bullshit. Get on your feet and make something happen. Sometimes people, when they're in the shower listening to Backyard, I would want them to be encouraged and motivated. And that's the song that they listen to on their way to work and when they're working out. And,
That's dope. That's dope. Yeah, it'd be good to hear something other than about getting drunk and clappers and stuff sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, I love that too. No shade against that, but sometimes we just got to mix it up. Like every go-go song is about the same thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. So you guys have some merch. Where can people get the Backyard merch?
Yeah, all that stuff. We're gonna do a big campaign to launch all that, but I think it's time. There's fans, which was so dope about Backyard fans is, remember, there's people my son's age, early 20s, teenagers that are Backyard fans, right? Then there's 20s and 30s that are Backyard fans, and then there's 43 to 53-year-olds that are Backyard fans. It's 3 generations. So you can go
put me in the oldest bracket.
No, you would be in the middle. You would be in the middle.
I'm 43. You started the old people one.
That old Malachi. Oh, my bad, cuz. Yeah. So, I'm gonna go ahead and put you in the senior citizen bracket of Backyard fans, which is fine. I want to say senior citizens like you old, and it's just y'all are seasoned. Y'all the originators. You went to the.
I have no grades. I'm still ginger. I'm good.
Actually, I do. I got a couple.
So
stress, but I mean, I just think that's dope within itself too. Just to have multiple generations that are all Backyard fans. It's not young. It's not old. Now let's get the people in other cities. Let's get whites. Let's get older, younger. You know what I'm saying? Just get them excited about Backyard and get them excited about the genre of music.
So the merch is not available yet, but that's something coming.
Yeah. All that stuff is going to come, right. You asked me about merch, and I started talking about the civil rights.
Yeah, pretty much.
But just the relation I was trying to say is with the merch, all that stuff. This is stuff that the fans can have forever. Like you got that Backyard shirt, you got that Backyard hat. You could wear it to events. You could do certain things with it, and it's memorabilia. Just like people had merch when the Beatles was out. It's the same thing. Like those shirts. Yeah, of course, people duplicated them, but imagine having an original Backyard shirt that you got from, the website. You know what I'm saying? It just makes it authentic.
Right.
So
that's what's up. So, and so you not only manage Backyard, but you also managed Big G in his acting career. So what's going on there? Anything?
So on that side, yes. So I manage him personally, and then that what falls in line with that is the acting, and then also endorsement deals and different things that he has going on, philanthropy, speaking to schools. Like if he could be every day at a different school or speaking to kids or doing something community-wise, he would. I really got to regulate that. On the acting side, same thing. He's hungry. He's ready to work. It's just such an easy job, like to have someone as motivated as you and as creative as you, and that just doesn't stop, as opposed to you got to pull them up. He beats me to spots. He's the first to come, last to leave. That's the type of work ethic. So with that, roles are coming in all the time. I just email some people back. Now they love him from The Wire. They love him from different movies he's been. Treme and
The Deuce.
Yeah, and The Deuce was the most recent. They love his character, and so they hit. But the reality is, I know his worth. So just because he wasn't in the last Denzel Washington movie doesn't mean that you need him on the set in this city and you're gonna pay him this. I mean, we know our worth as well.
Right.
And in this time and age, it's like we're just being strategic in what we are going to be involved in. We can't be at every single school when, and I'm putting this out there, when God forbid, when kids get killed or this person gets killed, he can't be at he's not going to be at Candlelight Visuals, because that was the case. That'd be a full-time job for him.
Right.
And political stuff. We don't want to go too political. We did the stuff with we partnered with the government for the COVID stuff because we wanted to use our platform. We wanted to use our virtual show as a way to communicate that wash your hands, dirty butt. Use hand sanitizers. Like when you cough like that. Social distance, like all that stuff. Wear your mask, all that stuff. You know what I mean? Because with Backyard, it's a cool factor to them. So the kids are listening. Okay, well, he said it's so cool, but I'm not listening to Trump. Well, actually, Trump doesn't care either way if you have a mask on or not. He just wants to win the election. But the reality is, we wanted to use our platform to help the government. We partnered with the mayor and them to get words out about COVID.
Right.
From Cavassier, that partnership, like we do stuff with them, like this different liquor brands have happened. So I maintain that. And I've lost a lot of friends. Like a lot of people don't like me now, and I'm just learning this. But I was like, damn, when I was at PGC or when I was just the dude from DTLR sponsoring everybody's events, I was my man. But now that I got to tell you guys, no, G can't host your party for $500. Yeah, but we grew up together. We went to middle school together. Okay, that has nothing to do with the price of tea in China. So now they look at me like I'm an asshole, but I'll be an asshole. I just need to my concern is to make sure that the Backyard brand is represented well. The Anwan Glover Big G brand is represented well. We can't associate ourselves with everything. We have to keep it structured. We have to keep it a certain level. And I guess I'll be the bad guy, but I will be the bad guy as long as at the end of the day, the band is good, G's good, family's good, and bills are paid.
Well, yeah, I feel your pain. I went through, people being mad at me because I couldn't put their band in the casino at that particular moment in time, or that I couldn't put their band in the casino at all, or now that I am an agent, like I can't represent their band. Yeah, so I feel you on that. Like it's only so much you can do. It's only something, he's only one dude. He can't be at every single event, and I get it. And he does a lot, in the community. So, kudos to him for that. So do you know, or can you speak to, like, as an actor, we already talked about what the goal for Backyard is, that you want them to be, to be a national act. What about for acting? Like, I don't even know it's not my world. So I don't really know what the steps are. You know what I mean? Is there like, I want to be at this level, or?
So with G, and I'm gonna speak this into existence, he's one role away from that role that puts him in all the major stuff. Okay. So Taraji, her joint was the joint with Tyrese. Who's that movie called? Was it Baby Boy with Tyrese?
Yeah, I
think yeah. that role right there, and she sounded so DC. That was amazing. It didn't change, and then see that the character that she put out, Jody, and she sounded like a chick from Anacostia High School. She did. She didn't change up, but it was relatable to people in Detroit, LA, because there's a ghetto that that's what I mean about Gogo. I keep taking it back to that. Like it's relatable, and you know what goes on in DC happens in Detroit and all these other cities. So she kept it, and she killed that part, and from there, boom, she got this part, and then she's on Empire, and then now she's a household name. With Gang, it's gonna take one role. See, The Wire was awesome, but I just wish his next role was sooner, because it would have made it better. And it's not too. The dude still looks super young, so it's not a time.
Even if he didn't, I mean, Morgan Freeman didn't really start his career until he was like 50 something. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that this is going to take that long for G, but I'm just saying, like, with the acting thing as opposed to music, like, you don't have to be 20 years old to be a successful actor. You know what I'm saying? Music is a little bit different, but it's still not impossible. You know?
Yeah, his role, and the other part is, you know, working with these agents now from just different companies. There's one in New York, one in Atlanta. Speaking to them, you know, as we talk about the different roles, like, we don't want him to be typecasted where it's like he's always playing the drug dealer on the corner. Man, his lines are always, "Whatever, Tony, I told you down, and I want my shit now." Get away from that. Also, he doesn't always have to be the basketball star that retired. So we want him to have some love role.
Yeah.
He's the the ladies love them some G. So he's like the heartthrob, and over here. And then another time he might be a minister that's talking to the youth. And over here he might be a guidance counselor at a high school. And he might be play the president. Whatever it is, like, that's what we're doing now. We want to make sure. Like, he was recently in a sci-fi film, and I loved it because Negro had a 6'7" spacesuit on, and
what's the movie? Because I like sci-fi shit.
I'll let you know in a second. But the thing is, not being typecasted, and then when he gets that role, that he's able to really go in, like how he was on The Wire. It's going to be over. Same thing with Gogo. That one with the Backyard, that one song, that one hit is what's going to do it. You don't know what it's going to be. You don't know which role it's going to play with it that puts G, getting an Academy Award. You don't know what song is going to be, played where it's number one in the country. I mean, you don't know, but that's why we wanted to just keep pushing, so that way, we're heading in the right direction. Indeed.
Well, one thing I wanted to say real quick, headed back to Backyard, that I noticed from my short time playing with them and in dealing with, like, booking you guys in different places. One thing that I noticed about Backyard that is different than the other bands that I not every band that I played in, some of the bands that I've played in, but a lot of the bands that I've been around and people that I've talked to, the level of humility in the organization is significantly less than in, I would say Gogo as a whole. You know what I mean? And I think that has a lot to do with the success of Backyard. And I'm not saying that nobody ever has a moment where they feel like they're the shit or whatever, you know what I'm saying, like that. But generally speaking, I mean, I was only there for a few months, but I never got the vibe from anybody there that anybody thought they were better than anybody else. Or, everybody was just mad, cool, and down to earth, and all that shit. And I think that really has a lot to do with the success. And I feel like G is like that as well. And that's probably going to serve him well in the acting, stuff that he's doing as well. So if there's anything that I learned from being with Backyard, is that. So hopefully anybody else that's watching that has a band, Sweaty said the name of the movie is Prospect. So I'm going to check that out. So if anybody has a band, coming from me and coming from Raasan, that's something to look out for, or to keep in mind, is to be to be humble. So I don't know. It looks like we lost Raasan, but that's all right, because we were going to wrap up anyway. So thanks very much, Raasan, for coming on. Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Do me a favor, please. Click down below and subscribe and then also click the little bell icon. That'll let you know when the next episodes are coming up. And I don't remember who we have next week off the top of my head, but the listing should be up on GOGOTIX, GOGOTIX.co pretty soon. Thanks, Sweaty. I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Sorry, Ricky, I forgot to get to your question. I apologize. I just realized it. But yeah, thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I do this every Wednesday and Thursday on right here, GOGOTIX, or youtube.com/GOGOTIX. So make sure you check it out. And once shows are really back up and popping again, you can go to gogotix.co, and that will give you the listings for all the go-go shows that are happening. So thanks again, everybody. Appreciate it. And we'll see you next Wednesday.